Recently, College Board released 270 new questions, all of them brand spanking new. In this video, I'll be solving the 6 hardest vocab questions from that new batch. Remember to pause the video and try them on your own first. Let's get started. So up first, we've got this bad boy, and we are not going to look at the answers. When you're doing words in context, it is important that you come up with a prediction based on the context. So that's what we're going to do. So the first sentence is telling me that there's a clear distinction between the way different fish from different places look. And it says, while tropical species are blank, deep-bodied physical forms. So we're looking at this a deep body. Polar and temperate species, so that would be not tropical, are highly dispersed amongst the morphological spectrum. And I'm gathering that morphological spectrum is basically just talking about the different body shapes, right? Body shapes, morphology, you're morphing your body. That's what I'm getting. Okay, anyway, my prediction. So we actually see the contrast that we want. We see the different places, the tropical and the polar. We see the deep body physical, very specific, versus highly dispersed. So I think what we're missing is the opposite of highly dispersed. And best case scenario for words in context, you're going to find some sort of an antonym or a synonym. In this case, it's an antonym of the blank space. So I'm going to predict something that's the opposite of highly dispersed, which would be tropical species are mostly made of, because dispersed would mean like there's a whole bunch of different ones, right? Across the spectrum. So, but these are mostly made of these deep body physical forms. So that's my prediction. Let's eliminate. A, authenticated by, think authenticity. Basically, it means if you authenticate something, you show that it is true. That doesn't make sense at all. And to be clear, I'm eliminating based off of my prediction. I am assuming my prediction is correct. You should do the same because you can come up with good predictions. Habituated to. That doesn't make sense either. For habituated, think habit. If you've been habituated to something, you've gotten used to it. It's become habit for you. So nope. Contemporary with. Contemporary, you think of your contemporaries or the people who exist around the same time as you. Often it's also meant to mean modern because it's the time that you're currently existing in. But regardless, doesn't mean mostly made of, right? And then choice D, concentrated among. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Concentrated is like totally the opposite of dispersed, right? If something's dispersed, it's spread out. If something is concentrated, it's all hanging out in the same place. So choice D, boom, 1 down. Let's go. And in case this is the first time you've encountered this strange bald man, I am Robert, founder of Penguin Test Prep, and all of these YouTube videos are free, but if you are interested in extra support, we do offer everything from self-guided study to group courses to one-on-one private tutoring. Check out the links in the description if any of that stuff piques your interest. All right, next up, here's a chance to pause the video, but let's get into it. With these types of questions where we're actually going to be replacing an underlined word, I like to treat them like the other ones where we're filling in a blank space. So I'm going to do my best to ignore this word. Obviously, you can't do that on the SAT, but this is what my brain's doing. I'm just showing you what my brain's doing. And also, don't forget about the context. Sometimes that can be helpful. So same thing, we're going to look around and try to come up with a prediction. Ideally, if we can find some sort of a synonym or an antonym, that's going to help influence our prediction. All right, so intro, we're asking about this Ethan character. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so first sentence has a contrast, which is usually important because it says, basically, she was giving a ton of detail about everything I asked her, except on the subject of Ethan Frome, but on the subject of Ethan Frome, I found her to be unexpectedly reticent. So that's a contrast note. And then there was no hint of disapproval in her blank. I merely felt in her an insurmountable reluctance to speak of him. Okay, so we have, I think, 2 words that we could use as our potential synonyms because right after saying she was unexpectedly reticent, on the subject of this person. We say there was no hint of disapproval in her blank, in her reticence, potentially. I merely felt her to be reluctant, right? So hopefully you know one of these words because they can help you to understand the other, but also you have the but, so you know it's going to basically be the opposite of giving a bunch of detail, right? And yes, reticent means sort of quiet or reserved. Reluctant means hesitant. So for my prediction, I'm going to go with in her quiet restraint. All right, modesty. When you're modest, it means you don't show off. I mean, that would be restraint, but that's more like restraint in not showing how cool you are. So that's not quite the kind of constraint I was thinking of. Misgiving. Misgiving would be like feeling kind of negative about something. And I guess it would be a synonym of reluctant, but it has more of a negative connotation. And it does say there's no hint of disapproval. So I think we can get rid of misgiving. Actually, I'll hold on to it because it is a synonym of reluctant. Constraint. Ooh. Well, now that I see constraint, that's stronger than misgiving because that's actually what I was thinking of. Constraint, yeah, basically means you're constraining, you're restraining, you're holding back, which has what I was looking for without the negative connotation. And then decomposure. Composure is just you're composed. You are presenting yourself well, so that doesn't work. And it's choice C. Bada bing, bada boom. Pause the video, try this one on your own first. Here we go. All right, you know the drill by now, so I'm looking for context. And I'm actually feeling like I can get away with reading one sentence here because I have kind of everything that I need. It's basically saying if there's a subscription where there's automatic renewal and a subscriber has to deliberately cancel in order to cancel, benefits retailers, so benefits the people selling the subscription when consumer blank is high. I mean, I could imagine a scenario. I would say when consumer, I don't want to say laziness, but not paying attentionness. I'm having a hard time thinking of a good word for it, but basically, I'm just going to put it because I want to show you guys that it's okay to come up with a prediction that's not a real thing. So I'm going to say not paying attentionness / taking actionness. Boom. Most beautiful prediction I've ever made, and a little misspelling just to make things even better. Not going to change it. Not ashamed of it. All right. Choice A is inertia. Interesting. So not taking action could go with inertia because inertia is, as far as like physics goes, basically means it's the whole thing where things will kind of stay in the same pattern that they are already in. So if they're not in motion, they'll probably stay not in motion. And if they're in motion, they'll probably stay in motion. So that could potentially work. So we're going to hold on to it. Decisiveness would be the opposite of what we're looking for. And wink, wink, hint, hint, there are a lot of opposite distractor answers in words and context. There's usually at least one answer that means the opposite of what you're looking for. So B is out. And yeah, just basically because deciding something would be the opposite of not taking action. Deciding something is taking action. Choice C, evasion. That means evading or avoiding or getting away from. I don't see how that really matches at all. Turnover. Well, turnover is basically how quickly something is replaced. So like employee turnover, for example, is like you would have high turnover if you have employees that only last for a couple of months. So the same thing applied to consumers would mean they would ostensibly go on to a different service or a different business very quickly, which would not be good because it would mean that they would want to deliberately cancel their subscriptions. So for that reason, it's actually going to be choice A. And I didn't want to mention this at first because I doubt most of you would know it, but this is a sort of business term, consumer inertia. And it basically is just a term meaning consumer inertia would be the tendency for a consumer to want to just stick with the thing that they know and love. So it's kind of the opposite of turnover, where it's like,
I drink Folgers coffee every morning. I'm only going to drink Folgers coffee every morning.
All right. But anyway, yeah, choice A there. All right. Pause the video. Try it out. Here we go. This one starts with, though copies of this, an underground computer game that was created anonymously as an act of political protest were originally distributed blank. The game is now readily available. Now readily available seems to be my antonym for this one because it says now compared to originally it was distributed blank. So I would probably go with the opposite of, now readily available. Just going off of that, I'm just going to go with sparingly, something like that. Because if it wasn't distributed that much, then it wouldn't be readily available. Hard to find. I'll go with that. Okay. So going through my answer choices here, succinctly. So succinct means like kind of short and to the point. I don't know that really makes sense here. Dispassionately. If you don't know that word, just think about passion and dis. So not with passion. That also doesn't really seem to line up with what I'm looking for. Disingenuously. This is another one that you could kind of piece together if you didn't know it, because again, we have dis and then genuine. So disingenuine or disingenuously in this case means in a way that is not real, not authentic, not honest, and that does not match either. And then surreptitiously, by process of elimination, should work for us. And it definitely doesn't mean sparingly, but it means secretly. And it would be hard to find if it were done secretly. And it also lines up with the fact that it was created anonymously in an act of protest. So maybe they were trying to keep it a secret so they didn't get into trouble. Totally makes sense. But yeah, remember surreptitious as secretly, like if you're trying to hide something. In this case, maybe for a good reason. All right, pause the video, do your thing. Here we go. So first sentence is talking about how researchers give a gift of some sort. And then we have a however, so probably something important coming up. It may undercut the applicability of the study's results. So basically saying this may mess with the results because people who join a study in response to blank compensation, that is going to be my my synonym. So I'm going to use that, and well, I don't know, man. I'm just not even going to write a prediction. I'm going to steal it. It's okay to steal the word from the text. I'm going to steal compensation as my prediction and start eliminating. All right, choice A propensity. Propensity means like a sort of tendency, like you're kind of like something that you're drawn to. That doesn't match compensation, no. An inducement, that is literally like an incentive that would be offered to try and get somebody to do something. So that fits perfectly. A paradigm is like a model, sort of like a classic model of something. So that doesn't make sense. An appeasement. Ooh, appeasement actually kind of works because you could compensate somebody to appease them. When you're appeasing someone, though, it's more like they're unhappy and you're trying to make them feel better. But here, these people aren't necessarily unhappy. They're just like, hey, man, do this study. I'll give you some money. So it's not like they're trying to fix anything. They're just trying to give them an incentive to do the thing. So choice B is our answer. Pause the video. Try this one on your own first. Here we go. So we have a colon, and the colon is probably going to give us an example of what just came before. So if we have a theory that people envision blank scenarios when making casual judgments, we're going to get an example of that. So that should hopefully help us find the blank. All right, and the scenario is we have colliding billiard balls, and we're asked if one caused or prevented the other's movement through a gate. Their eyes look where the target ball would have gone if the ball that altered its path did not exist. So basically, we've got some balls. They're coming together and hitting each other and kind of making each other bounce. And they're saying that these people are envisioning, this is completely unnecessary. Whatever you do, do not draw pictures during the SAT. They're envisioning, oh, this ball would have kept going this way if, yeah, so cool. All right, so based off of that, I'm going to go with alternative scenarios because they are envisioning an alternative scenario. Sure, yeah, alternative, because it's the thing that did not happen. All right, ambivalent. Ambivalent means unclear. Specifically, if you're feeling ambivalent, you might be feeling sort of like hot and cold. That's not alternative. Retrospective. Just think about people saying, well, in retrospect, it's when you're looking back on the past with a different perspective, basically. That kind of fits because we're like imagining what the past would have been like, but I don't know. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it for now. Counterfactual. Well, counter means not, or like the opposite of. Factual is factual. So this is not the truth. I'll keep that one as well because they are imagining a scenario that is counter to what actually happened. Cool. And then analogical. I feel like I know that word, but I don't know it very well. So I want to give you guys kind of a scenario here where we don't necessarily have a clear answer. And one of the words we're uncertain about the definition so that we can talk about it. So importantly, if you don't know a word, don't get rid of it. You only want to get rid of words if you can confidently eliminate them because you know that they do not match your prediction. The only time, however, that you would choose a word you don't know is if you've confidently eliminated 3 answers. So just a couple things to keep in mind. Anyway, right now what I want to do is I want to think about B and C because I held on to both of them. And the alternative was basically an untrue alternative, a hypothetical that did not happen. So counterfactual fits really well there. And then retrospective, again, is just looking on the past, not looking on a fake past. So I'm going to eliminate choice B. Now we're down to an answer that the definition I know very well and the definition I'm a little shaky on. So for sure, if I feel confident that counterfactual fits, I would choose it. But if I weren't sure, I could also try to do what I've done with some of these other ones where I'm thinking about root words and prefixes and suffixes. So for this one, I know logical. Logic has to do with thinking. And then also analogy. So thinking in terms of analogies would be my interpretation of that. And based off of that, I would go ahead and get rid of choice D. And I did feel pretty confident about C anyway. So choice C for that one. And I know what you're thinking.
Robert, what if I don't know the words?
I've got you covered. This video right here goes through the strategies for words you are unfamiliar with. So you're going to want to watch this next.